As we move further into the pre-listing phase, it is important to have a clear picture of what selling actually costs. These numbers vary depending on your situation, but knowing them in advance prevents surprises later. The costs of moving typically include preparation work on the home, junk removal, staging, hiring a mover, smoke detector and carbon monoxide inspections, attorney fees, and brokerage commission. There may be additional items specific to your transaction. Your team member will walk you through each one as they become relevant so nothing catches you off guard. Talk to your accountant. Before we go any further, this is worth saying clearly. Speak with your accountant before you close, not after. Massachusetts imposes a stamp tax on real estate transactions, and depending on your situation, there may be meaningful tax implications for your annual filing. Capital gains, your cost basis, improvements made over the years, and your length of ownership all factor in. Your accountant needs to be part of this conversation early. If your home is selling for $1 million or more, there is an additional layer that took effect November 1st, 2025, and your team member needs to make sure you are prepared for it. Massachusetts now requires a withholding agent, typically the closing attorney, to file a Form NRW with the Department of Revenue for every real estate transaction at or above that threshold. If you are a full-year Massachusetts resident, you are exempt from the withholding itself, but your attorney is still required to file the form. You will need to complete and sign a transferor's certification before or at closing confirming your status. If you are not a Massachusetts resident, withholding may be collected from your proceeds at closing and applied toward your estimated tax liability. The rate depends on how the calculation is structured, and your attorney and accountant will guide you through the specifics. This is not a reason for concern. It is a reason to be prepared. Your team member will make sure the right conversation happens with the right people well before closing day. Brokerage commission. Let's talk about commission because there has historically been a lot of confusion around it and the landscape has changed meaningfully in recent years. For decades, the model worked like this. A listing brokerage charged a commission and then offered a portion of that commission to the buyer's agent for procuring a buyer. That structure had roots in an era before buyer agency even existed. Prior to the late 1990s, all agents technically represented the seller. Every agent in a transaction was considered a sub-agent of the seller. As buyer agency emerged, buyers were already stretching their capital to afford a purchase, so the seller-funded buyer-broker model simply persisted. Recent litigation and subsequent settlement agreements changed how this is handled and disclosed. The result is more transparency and more control for sellers. What sellers need to know now. A seller is not obligated to offer compensation to a buyer's broker. That is the starting point. Buyer-broker compensation is no longer advertised on the MLS. That is no longer permitted. Instead, a buyer's agent may include a request for compensation as part of their client's offer. The buyer can also pay their agent directly. The compensation conversation now happens at the offer level, rather than being built into the listing from the start. Our recommendation is not to advertise buyer-broker compensation publicly before offers come in. The reason is straightforward. If a buyer's agent includes a commission request in their offer that is lower than what you might have offered up front, you have saved money. Advertising a number in advance sets a floor you did not need to set. Staying quiet costs you nothing and may save you something. Our commission and what it covers. Our brokerage commission covers the full service portion of your transaction. That includes market analysis and pricing strategy, listing preparation guidance, professional photography, 3D virtual tours, floor plans, active marketing and syndication, open house coordination, showing management, negotiation, and complete transaction management from pre-listing to close. As market conditions shift and commission structures adjust across the industry, so does our ability to be flexible in how we structure our services. We work with our clients to find the right fit, and depending on the scope of the engagement, there may be opportunities to include additional services as part of our overall arrangement. The specifics of that conversation happen with your team member directly. What does not change is the standard of service. We represent you at the same level regardless of how the transaction is structured. The goal is always the same: the highest return the market will bear with the least amount of risk along the way.